Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus. This name belonged to the man who would become Caligula, Rome's third emperor. His journey to power was marked by both privilege and peril. Born in 12 AD, Caligula was a child of Rome's most famous family. His father, Germanicus, was a beloved general, and his mother, Agrippina the Elder, was a prominent figure in Roman society. His great-uncle was Augustus, Rome's first emperor. This connection to Augustus gave Caligula a direct link to the founding of the Roman Empire, a legacy that carried immense weight and expectation. Caligula's early life was turbulent. The political landscape of Rome was fraught with danger, and his family was often at the center of it. He experienced the loss of his father and witnessed the brutal executions of family members under the reign of Tiberius, his predecessor. These events left a lasting impact on young Caligula, shaping his views on power and survival. Despite this, when Tiberius died in 37 AD, Caligula became emperor. Rome at first rejoiced. The people saw in him a beacon of hope, a young leader who could restore the glory of Rome. Caligula was young, charismatic, and a descendant of Augustus. His charm and lineage made him a popular figure among the Roman populace. People hoped for a golden age. They believed that Caligula would bring prosperity and stability, ushering in a new era of peace and progress. The early months of his reign seemed to promise just that. Caligula was generous, enacting popular reforms and restoring freedoms that had been curtailed under Tiberius. He reduced taxes, increased public entertainment, and even recalled exiles. These actions endeared him to the people and the Senate alike. However, this period of goodwill was short-lived. The pressures of power and the traumas of his past began to take their toll on Caligula. A dramatic shift was about to occur, forever changing how history viewed Caligula. His reign, which began with such promise, would soon descend into chaos and infamy, leaving a legacy that would be debated for centuries. After a few months as emperor, Caligula fell seriously ill. The nature of his illness remains a mystery. Some ancient sources describe a high fever and delirium, others hint at possible poisoning. Whatever the cause, this illness marked a turning point. When Caligula recovered, he was different. The once promising emperor became cruel and erratic. He indulged in extravagant luxuries, spent recklessly, and ordered executions on a whim. Rome, once hopeful, watched in fear and disbelief as their emperor transformed. Caligula's actions became increasingly bizarre and tyrannical. Stories of his excesses spread throughout the empire and beyond. He built a lavish floating bridge across a bay, simply to ride his horse across it. He declared himself a god, demanding to be worshipped. Perhaps the most infamous story is that of Incitatus, Caligula's horse. It is said that Caligula loved this horse so much that he appointed it a senator, and even planned to make it a consul, one of Rome's highest offices. These acts, viewed through the lens of history, have painted Caligula as a madman, driven to insanity by power. But is this a fair assessment, or is there more to the story? Modern historians urge caution in judging Caligula solely through the accounts of ancient writers. These sources, often hostile to Caligula, likely exaggerated or fabricated stories to discredit him. Some historians suggest that Caligula's actions were not those of a madman, but of a shrewd, if ruthless, politician. They argue that his extravagant spending was a way to secure the loyalty of the people and the army. His claims of divinity, shocking to us, were not unusual for Roman emperors. By aligning himself with the gods, Caligula was solidifying his authority in a society where religion and politics were intertwined. Lost in the narratives of madness are glimpses of a capable ruler. Caligula undertook public works projects such as expanding the harbor at Ostia and improving Rome's grain supply. He also reformed the tax system, making it fairer for ordinary Romans. These actions suggest that Caligula was not solely focused on self-indulgence. He understood the needs of his people and took steps to address them. Some of Caligula's most perplexing actions involved the sea, the Roman Senate, and of course his horse Incitatus. Caligula, the infamous Roman emperor, is often remembered for his eccentric and erratic behavior. His reign, though short, was marked by a series of bizarre and controversial decisions that have puzzled historians for centuries. One of his most ambitious projects was the construction of massive ships, which were equipped with luxurious amenities. These ships were not just ordinary vessels, they were floating palaces, complete with marble floors, intricate mosaics, and even gardens. The sheer scale and opulence of these ships were unprecedented in Roman history. Some historians believe these ships were pleasure barges, showcasing Caligula's extravagance. They argue that these vessels were used for lavish parties and grand celebrations, reflecting the emperor's love for luxury and excess. The ships were a testament to his desire to live a life of unparalleled splendor. Others suggest they were intended for military campaigns, highlighting Caligula's ambition to expand Roman power. These historians believe that the ships were part of a grand strategy to project Roman might across the seas, demonstrating the emperor's military prowess and his vision for a greater Roman Empire. Caligula's relationship with the Senate was strained, to say the least. The young emperor often found himself at odds with the senators, who were wary of his unpredictable nature and his tendency to bypass traditional protocols. This tension was exacerbated by Caligula's blatant disregard for the Senate's authority. He openly mocked and humiliated senators, stripping them of their power. Caligula's disdain for the Senate was evident in his actions, as he frequently belittled and undermined the senators in public. This not only weakened the Senate's influence, but also solidified his own position as the supreme ruler of Rome. This antagonistic approach, while seemingly irrational, could be interpreted as a calculated move to consolidate his own authority. By diminishing the power of the Senate, Caligula ensured that there were no significant threats to his rule. And then there's Incitatus, his beloved horse. While the story of Caligula appointing his horse as a senator might be an exaggeration, it speaks volumes about his disdain for the Roman elite. The tale of Incitatus, whether entirely true or not, symbolizes Caligula's contempt for the traditional power structures of Rome. It was a bold statement, challenging the very foundations of Roman society. By elevating a horse to such a position, Caligula was sending a clear message: he was in control, and traditional hierarchies meant nothing. This act, whether real or symbolic, underscored the emperor's absolute authority and his willingness to defy convention. In the end, Caligula's reign remains one of the most enigmatic and controversial periods in Roman history, a testament to the complexities of power and the unpredictable nature of human behavior. After 4 years of rule, Caligula's reign came to an abrupt and violent end. In 41 AD, he was assassinated by a group of Praetorian guards, the elite soldiers tasked with protecting the emperor. The reasons behind the assassination are complex and still debated. Some historians believe the assassination was a result of a conspiracy involving senators who feared for their lives and the future of Rome. Others suggest that the Praetorian guards, unhappy with Caligula's leadership and fearing for their own safety, acted independently. Whatever the motivations, Caligula's assassination sent shockwaves through Rome. The Senate attempted to restore the Republic, but the people, accustomed to imperial rule, demanded a new emperor. Caligula's uncle Claudius eventually succeeded him. Caligula's reign left an indelible mark on Roman history. He is remembered as a tyrant, a madman, a monster. His name became synonymous with cruelty, excess, and depravity. The stories of his reign, passed down through generations, served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of absolute power. Even today, Caligula's name evokes images of insanity and brutality. He has been portrayed in literature, film, and art as the epitome of a mad emperor. His reign serves as a reminder of the fragility of power and the human capacity for both great good and terrible evil. Caligula remains one of the most enigmatic figures in Roman history. His reign, though short, has left an indelible mark on the annals of ancient Rome. Born Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, he ascended to the throne in AD 37, following the death of his great-uncle and adoptive grandfather, Emperor Tiberius. Was he truly mad, driven to insanity by the weight of power? Or did the immense responsibilities and pressures of ruling an empire push him to the edge? His early reign was marked by generosity and public approval, but things took a dark turn. Or was he a misunderstood ruler, a victim of propaganda and the biases of historians? Ancient sources, primarily written by his political enemies, paint a picture of a tyrant. But how much of this is true, and how much is exaggerated or fabricated? The evidence is contradictory and open to interpretation. Some accounts describe his bizarre behavior, such as declaring himself a god and appointing his horse as a priest. Yet, These stories might have been crafted to discredit him. While his actions were undoubtedly cruel and often bizarre, they can also be viewed through a political lens. Caligula's reign was a time of immense political intrigue and power struggles. His cruelty might have been a tool to consolidate power and instill fear among his adversaries. Caligula was a product of his time, a ruler operating within a system where power was absolute and violence was commonplace. The Roman Empire was a brutal world, and emperors often had to be ruthless to maintain control. His actions, though extreme, were not entirely out of place in the context of Roman politics. Ultimately, the question of Caligula's sanity and the true nature of his reign may never be definitively answered. The sources we rely on are tainted with bias, and the passage of time has only added layers of myth and legend to his story. He remains a figure of fascination and debate, a reminder that history is rarely black and white, but rather a tapestry woven from shades of grey. Caligula's legacy challenges us to question our understanding of the past and to consider the complexities of human nature and power. If you found this video interesting, please be sure to give a like and subscribe and tell us what video you'd like to see next. Thanks for watching.